In sales, trust is extremely important. Your prospect must trust you and the solution that you offer, but they also must trust their ability to actually implement and solve their problems by using your solution. In this week's video of Sales School, we're going to be talking about the 3 separate areas where you can build more trust with your prospect and actually help them trust you, your solution, and trust themselves. Plus, when you comment below this video, Sales School, I'm going to send you the entire online training curriculum of Sales School completely for free. That includes all the training videos and the implementation steps, such as the pop quizzes and different resources that I've developed for you as a sales professional, a business owner, or an entrepreneur focusing on the fundamentals of sales and becoming a professional at those fundamentals. Now, once again, this week is all about building rapport and the 3 ways that you can do that easily and effortlessly in your sales process. Whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, investor, or a sales rep, you know that sales is the fastest way to financial freedom and abundance. But if you're anything like most sales professionals, then you've probably struggled in your sales performance from time to time. Well, the truth is, it's not your fault. And there is a solution to help you eliminate those hard days, weeks, or even months that you might be experiencing. Now, you've probably noticed a pattern already, but the professionals in any area of life are the ones who always focus on and master the fundamentals. But here's a scary fact. Surveys show that 70% of everyone who sells for a living describes themselves as social sellers and have never gone through any formal sales training. Now, I'm guessing you don't want to be counted in that 70%, especially if you have plans to do extremely well in your sales career. That's why I want to introduce you to Sales School, the Sales Pro's Guide to Sales Fundamentals. Sales School is helping sales beginners and sales experts focus on the fundamentals of sales and human decision making so that they can leave their competition in the dust. Now, if that sounds like a school you'd enroll in, grab a pen and paper, take a seat, and let class begin. Welcome back to Sales School. You are in chapter 6, where we're going to be talking about building rapport, which is the first step in the fundamental 5-step sales process. Now, specifically in this training and in this chapter, we're going to cover what is rapport, why is rapport important in sales, how do I build rapport, and then of course, we are going to go over your next steps to remember, implement, and actually move forward with what you learned today. So let's start out and let's discuss what is rapport. Now, rapport is a word that is used to describe a relationship between 2 people or 2 groups of people. Having more rapport simply means that you have more trust. And if you have less rapport, that also means that you have less trust. Now, with that being said, why is rapport important in a sales interaction? It's because typically when it comes to a decision to buy something, a huge part of that decision-making process is trust. Not just trusting who you're speaking to as a sales professional, but also trusting that the solution they're offering you is going to work. That's why rapport is so important when it comes to sales, because without it, it's very hard for your prospect to trust you. We're going to talk about 3 fundamental ways that you can begin implementing, focusing on, and using today throughout your sales process. The first of which is matching and mirroring. The second is understanding your prospect. And the third is detaching from the outcome. So let's go ahead and dive into the first area, which is matching and mirroring. So essentially what matching and mirroring is, if we were to draw it out, is when you are going to match or mirror your prospect. And what I mean by this is matching is doing exactly what they're doing, and mirroring is going to be doing the opposite of what they're doing, okay? Now, when I say matching and mirroring, it's just a really fast and simple way to remember these principles, but there's 3 specific areas where you could match or mirror your prospect. And these are the 3 areas of communication. You can match and mirror in your words, you can match and mirror in your tonality, and you can also match and mirror in your body language. So let's break this down. When it comes to the words that your prospect uses, when they use words, that is an insight into the world that they live in. It's their communication model, and there's a specific reason why they would pick particular words rather than other words out there that they could choose from. It's your job to discover what words do they enjoy using and begin matching and mirroring by using those words in your own sales process. Another area is their tonality. So their tonality is how fast they're speaking, how slow they're speaking, or the inflection in their voice as they're speaking. Now, ultimately, you want your prospect to be in a calm, cool, and collected state, in a state of trance. And to be able to do that, you need to use slower words and slow down your cadence. But at first, it's important to build rapport by matching and mirroring. Once you've begun that rapport process, to test that rapport, you can actually start to lead the way with your words, your tonality, and your body language. And you can watch as your prospect will begin to match and mirror you because you've now established that rapport with them. And that's the second area that you can begin matching and mirroring. The last area is going to be your body language. Now, with body language, this is going to be tricky because it does require context to the situation that you're selling in. Just because someone is folding their arms doesn't necessarily mean that they're closed off. It could also mean that they're just cold and they need a sweater or a jacket for wherever you're selling. It doesn't always mean that they're closed off. So with that, you just want to be aware of what are the common body language patterns that they're using, and there are any subtle body language movements that I can begin matching and mirroring as a sales professional to continue building my rapport. So once again, this is the first area that you can focus on to build rapport, which is matching and mirroring in 3 different topics: your words, your tonality, and your body language. Next, it's important that you understand your prospect. From what I teach in my advanced training course, we focus and use what's called the EIC model for decision making, or otherwise, what we like to call it is the EIC model or the sales model. With this EIC sales model, it talks about 2 really important areas of understanding your prospect. The first of which is their characteristics. That's all about their personality. That's all about their identity. The second area is what we like to call their preferences. Both of these are really important when it comes to understanding your prospect. And here's a very simple and fundamental framework you can use to begin understanding your prospect. We like to call this the color code. Now, with the color code, there's 4 basic personality types that can make up most personalities for human beings out there in the world. We have our red, who are your leaders. They're passionate. They're typically entrepreneurs. They typically own businesses. Those are going to be red personality types. Then we have our blue individuals. These are trainers. These are coaches. These are individuals that care about other people, and relationships are what's most important to them. We also have yellow personality types. This is what I like to call the cheerleader. These are the social people who are all about adventure and fun. And you can probably think of someone in your life who's all about that. They're always the center and the life of the party, and it's always fun to be around them. And then lastly, we have our white personality type, which is our super analytical, smart individuals, also known as nerds. I happen to also be a white personality type with a mixture of these other personalities combined together. But as you're going throughout your sales process, a quick way to understand the characteristics of your prospect and their preferences is to kind of put them into one of 4 buckets. Are they a red, which means they're all about fast, they're all about results, they're all about power. Blue is all about support and help and having their hand held. Yellow is fun, enjoyment, uncertainty, adventurous. And lastly, white is all about data and logic and having a step-by-step process that can eliminate as much risk as possible. So as you're speaking to your prospect, from the words that they're using, from the tonality that they're using, from the body language that they're using, and from the stories and context of your conversation, you can start to understand which of these 4 personalities is their primary motive or primary driver, and which one is their secondary. Then, as you go into your sales process, you can talk more about the things that they enjoy: having more power if they're red, having more support and impact in relationships if they're blue, having more fun and adventure if they're yellow, having more security and stability if they're white. So with these colors, it's a quick way to learn the characteristics and the preferences of your prospects and begin working with them. Now, in my advanced training, we go into extreme depth in this so that you understand how to quickly diagnose through the words, the tonality, the body language, and the context from your prospect who they are, what their personality is like, and how you can customize your sales process to meet their personality and help them make a decision. So that's ultimately the second area of building rapport. And then the third and final area that you can focus on is detaching from the outcome when it comes to building rapport. Now, what I mean by this, we can actually use a high school dating analogy, which is a fun one to always use. But if you think about this analogy, I'm going to explain 2 different scenarios. The first scenario is a scenario where you have one individual who is that popular girl in high school. Everybody wants to date her. Everybody wants to take her out on dates. And then there's you. You want to take this individual on a date, but the way that you go about doing it is through chasing her. So what that means is you're always finding a way to get into her environment. You're always finding ways to be around her. And over time, something begins to happen. People start to know and start to feel that you're chasing her and that you're trying to take her out, and you might get labeled as desperate or needy. And this is the first way that we could actually sell, is by being needy or desperate. Now, as you probably understand, if you try to sell this way, you're going to have a lot of rejection, a lot of think about it, and your prospect is in a place of power where you're constantly chasing them. Well, how you actually detach from the outcome is you quit caring so much about the outcome and you just show up and do what you do, which is selling, helping people make really good decisions. So you can take the same situation where you have this really popular girl who has her friends, who has her life, and you do the same thing. You go out there and you become more popular, you have more friends, more status. And what happens is you might like her and have an attraction to her, but over time, it's highly likely that she'll also reciprocate that because you have the same mentality as her. You're out there, you're enjoying your life, you're attracting individuals who want to take you out, and now you both have mutual interest in moving forward and going out. Same thing with a sales scenario where now, if you're just helping a prospect to get them to buy something, they're in complete control. Whereas if you're helping a prospect make a really good decision for themselves and you're not yet sure if that decision is to buy or not, you're in a place of power where they're going to open up and actually want to work with you because you're not just trying to sell them and you detached from that outcome. That's also going to help you build rapport because they will open up and be more honest and trusting with you because they know that you're not just going to force them to buy something that may or may not help them. So, once again, those are the three areas that you can focus on when building rapport: matching and mirroring, understanding your prospect, and then lastly, detaching from the outcome. So that is everything that we are going to go over in this chapter. As usual, if you're watching this on social media and you don't have the online training course and the online training curriculum, go ahead and comment below this video, Sales School, and I will send you that online training course completely for free as soon as possible. Now, if you're watching in the Sales School course, you're already in the training curriculum, then there is a pop quiz that goes with this to help you with your retention and actually remember what you learned in this chapter so you can implement it. If you're taking the online training curriculum, now your next step is to click below this video, take the pop quiz, and then once you're finished, you can move on to the next training video in this series.